A group of kids in a small Oregon town must work together to try to find some money to save their families from losing their homes while trying to outsmart a family of dangerous criminals. If you were a kid in 1985, there's a 97.2% chance that you grew up watching and loving The Goonies. Directed by Richard Donner of Superman fame, written by Chris Columbus of Home Alone, Harry Potter, Mrs. Doubtfire, and a million other things fame, and produced by Steven Spielberg, who needs no introduction. There's no way this wasn't going to become an all-time classic. Until I was about 13 years old, I lived on a street with a bunch of similarly aged kids. We were friends, not necessarily because we had a lot in common, we were friends because we were neighbors. Each neighborhood seems to have their own little ragtag gang of misfits. We rode our bikes, we explored caves and storm pipes, we rappelled down ravines, and just did what kids do, looking for fun. The Goonies perfectly captures the magic of that age, and they amped up the tension by having the kids on a literal treasure hunt while escaping from armed and dangerous criminals led by the always intimidating Mama Fratelli, played by Anne Ramsey, and her two trigger-happy, bumbling sons. The Goonies consist of brothers Mikey and Bran, played by Sean Astin and Josh Brolin. Mikey is kind of the leader of the group. He's the one wanting to save the family's house from foreclosure. And Bran is the typical older brother, wanting to do his own thing, meet up with his dream girl Andy, who's always with her best friend Steph, and keeping his brother and his brother's friends out of trouble. Mouth, played by Corey Feldman, is always joking and is usually inappropriate, and he doesn't know when to shut up. Data is obsessed with gadgets and walks around equipped from head to toe in homemade toys and tools that are always around to save the day when needed. And then there is who is probably my favorite character of the bunch, Chunk, who is this high-strung, pathological liar with a huge heart. In my opinion, he has all of the best lines and gives the best delivery of those lines. He's funny without feeling like he's really trying to be, and he's genuine in everything that he does. The kids really don't have a lot in common, which is handy for a movie like this because it gives the audience a lot of characters to choose from to be their favorite. There's definitely a character for everyone to relate to. Even though Mikey is the leader, each character has their own time to shine. The movie features both Pepsi and Baby Ruth candy bar product placement, and I enjoyed how painfully obvious each was. Everyone seemed to be drinking Pepsi, and of course they'd always hold the can in such a way that the label was pointing right at the camera. And the scene with Chunk and fan favorite character Sloth, the muscle-bound man who may have been dropped on his head a few too many times, at least according to his mother, bonding over a Baby Ruth bar may as well have been a commercial for the candy bar. The Cyndi Lauper song that plays throughout the movie is fun, and it adds a feeling of adventure throughout, and the 6-note theme that plays every few minutes is always welcome and lets us know that there is adventure right around the corner. Watching this as an adult with my 7-year-old daughter, I became painfully aware of the movie's PG-13 rating, as these kids cussed a lot more than I remembered, and there are definitely some jokes that thankfully went over her head. Now, much of the dialogue is characters just yelling at each other and over top of each other, which usually doesn't work in movies, but for some reason in the Goonies it gives it more of a feel of authenticity, because that's how kids are. They just keep talking louder until their point is made. The dialogue and characters feel very real, and they act in a way that me and my friends definitely acted. Now, if you listen closely, each time that you watch, you'll pick up on new things that the characters are saying, and that just adds to the movie's charm. The Goonies is one of, if not the best kids adventure movie of the 1980s, and it may be one of the best of all time. It's like Indiana Jones or National Treasure, but for a younger crowd. The cast and the score work together to make this an iconic movie that gains new fans with each generation. Now, I cannot separate this movie from my childhood. I honestly don't know if me and my friends explored our neighborhood looking for adventures because that's what all kids do, or were we just emulating the gang of misfits from one of our favorite movies. Exercising in a comfy chair, falling on a wet log, finding a treasure map, hanging at the bottom of a wishing well, using a lantern, finding a priceless treasure, finding out there's a deleted scene with a giant octopus that you never saw until you were in your 40s,